Hi, gang. Hello, hello. Here is the Monday poll question at Smerconish.com. Was the Late Show with Stephen Colbert canceled for ratings and revenue or politics? What was the root cause of the cancellation? No, you can't say a combination of both. That's not fun. Thank you to my friends at Parks Casino. Summertime, the beach, the boat, the lake, the great outdoors. Enjoy casino action and sports betting wherever you are all summer long with the BetParks app and the Playgun Lake app. Live betting on sports better on the BetParks app and Playgun Lake apps. Bet player performance, game props, and more. Whether your favorite team wins or not, there's always another way for you to win on the BetParks Sportsbook and Casino app, as well as Playgun Lake. Plus, check out all these new games on the BetParks app. Huff and Morepuff, Mega Fire Blaze, Dwarves and Goblins, the Flintstones, plus Money Horse. You bet blackjack, baccarat, all the hot online slots, all of that fun stuff, and new users get a $1,000 casino bonus back if you're down to the first 24 hours. For something different, try a little bit of live dealer action right now on your phone or your tablet or your laptop. Go to betparks.com or playgunlake.com. Download the apps right now. Enjoy all the action and excitement from the casino at your fingertips. You've got to be 21 and in PA, NJ, or Maryland for the BetParks app, 21 and in Michigan for Playgun Lake. You love to play, you play to win, you bet. BetParks and Playgun Lake, gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. Lots of voting since we were last together. Let me just back up and go to Thursday. Should Ukraine be given missiles that can reach Moscow? 34,885 votes cast. And once again, the most hawkish response when it comes to Ukraine and Russia wins the day. 89.09% say yes, give them the missiles that can reach Moscow. You remember what Admiral Stavridis said, and I agree with him. Give them the range, but don't let them do it relative to taking out civilians in Moscow. That would be a bad thing. And then Friday, should federal immigration agents be prohibited from wearing masks that conceal their identities? 38,261 cast ballots, a very similar number to the Ukraine vote. 81.03% said yes. Yes, meaning there ought to be a prohibition. I don't agree with that. On CNN on Saturday, I had Congressman Lou Correa from California talking about specifically this issue because he's the co-sponsor of a bill that would preclude ICE agents from being dressed as such. Look, we do it relative to SWAT. We allow undercover operations if it's gang infiltration, mob infiltration, any number of instances to protect law enforcement when we perceive there to be a risk of them doing their job. And in the doxing environment in which we live, you might not agree with the enforcement policies of ICE, but I don't blame that on the agents themselves. And I don't think that it's fair to jeopardize their health and safety because of issues that people have with the top of that food chain. So I'm in the minority on that. Saturday's poll question, and I'll be addressing this in some detail on radio today. When will we see the alleged Trump birthday letter to Epstein? I gave you a lot of choices in terms of a timeline. Actually, I'll give it to you in ascending order. We had just a tick under 50,000 votes cast, 49,347, garnering the least votes. We'll see it within a week. Second position in ascending order within a month. Longer than a month, but a majority, 52.45% said we, meaning the public, will never see the alleged Trump birthday greeting to Epstein. I think the odds of our seeing it are significantly increased because of the president on Friday filing a lawsuit. That's a very risky legal proposition. And it's risky because, first of all, civil litigation continues during the course of a president's tenure, unlike a criminal prosecution. That was the whole lesson that came out of the Clinton intern situation, right? President Clinton, sat for civil deposition, but a criminal case against him was forestalled. So it means that when President Trump sues the Wall Street Journal and the reporters and Murdoch and whomever else he threw in with that kitchen sink of a lawsuit, he is allowing his lawyers to take discovery, to be able to make requests for a production of documents to the Wall Street Journal, to subpoena records that may exist relative to that litigation. However, he's also availing himself to civil deposition. He by definition, he now has to give sworn testimony, and in this case, about the most personal and particular details of his relationship with Jeffrey Epstein. So I think the story comes out, and the odds that it never sees the light of day are greatly diminished because of President Trump filing that lawsuit. I mean, my own hunch, and I'll explain in detail on radio today, my own hunch is that story that the Journal published last Friday was lawyered within every inch of its life. Just totally scrubbed and line by line, gone over the fine-tooth comb. And my speculation is that somebody leaked contents of that Epstein birthday book, that 50th birthday book that was compiled in some leather-bound fashion, and that the deal with the Journal was, okay, we're going to let you look at it. You cannot copy it. You can't take possession of it. But to verify that it really exists, here you go. And if I'm right in that speculation, then the Wall Street Journal had a decision to make, and the decision that the Journal had to make was one of, are we going to publish on this basis if we don't have a copy and can show it to the public? And they made the call to go ahead and do it. Is that the right call? Subject to interpretation. And one more thing, because I was quote unquote trending over the weekend. I know this because the Daily Mail has a story posted today that says CNN host trends because he defends Donald Trump relative to the birthday submission. It's all very nuanced. Did I defend Trump? Well, I went so far as to say that this colloquy, this invented conversation between Trump and Epstein, was not written by Trump. That is my opinion. Do I think that there is a Trump birthday submission out there? I do. Do I think the birthday book exists? I do, because there's just so much detail. More on that on radio today. The Monday poll question. Come on, Michael, get to the poll question. Why was the Late Show with Stephen Colbert canceled? Ratings and revenue or politics? And by the way, I'm sure it's a combination thereof. But my own answer, and I'll probably be in the distinct minority on this, my own answer is ratings and revenue. Ratings and revenue. I have three publications in front of me that are very relevant to this discussion. The first is David Graham writing in The Atlantic. Is Colbert's ouster really just a financial decision? And he makes a very compelling case that it's politics and that it's all about the CBS sale or merger. He was a burr in the saddle of President Trump, and it suits the interests of CBS and their parent, which is Paramount, as the daughter of Sumner Redstone is seeking to be a part of a merger or acquisition, which requires government approval. And they've pissed off Trump, and this is a way to get back in his good graces. So the argument here is one of politics. Let me just pick some of this up in midstream. One reasonable starting point for the trouble would be 2016. That was both the year that Trump was first elected president and the year that Sumner Redstone, the cussed but aging owner of CBS's parent company Paramount, surrendered control to his daughter, Shari Redstone. In 2023, Shari Redstone began seeking a buyer for the company, eventually striking a deal in 2024 with Skydance. The merger requires federal approval. During the 2024 presidential campaign, 60 Minutes interviewed Kamala Harris, Trump's Democratic opponent. Trump sued CBS, alleging that the network improperly edited his interview. As supposed evidence, he cited different excerpts of the interview that had aired on different CBS shows And then David Graham parenthetically makes this observation really worthy. If CBS were seeking to hide anything, then airing the clips on its network wasn't a very effective way of doing it. He demanded $20 billion, a sum that was preposterous because, as most First Amendment lawyers agreed, the suit had no merit. I'm certainly in that category. And this is the type of lawsuit that Trump has filed over the course of his career, and it would control the news cycle. And then when it would be dismissed, nobody would be paying attention. By the way, on Friday, a lawsuit that he filed against Bob Woodward was dismissed. How many of you are even aware of that? In this news cycle, I'll bet not many. I mean, that's his MO. But the MO changed when he became the president-elect, because now certain of these corporate behemoths thought they couldn't run the risk of being on the wrong side of Trump, and consequently, they paid him. Stephanopoulos' case, the ABC case, where Stephanopoulos was wrong in saying that Trump had been convicted of rape. However, it's a very high standard, the New York Times versus Sullivan standard, given that Trump is a public figure. So I didn't view that case as having any financial value. And yet they paid him. Okay, back to this. But Trump has major leverage. He won the November presidential election, giving him a role in approving the proposed Skydance Paramount merger. During his first term, he'd already demonstrated his willingness to use his approval power to punish political opponents in the media, unsuccessfully seeking to block the merger of AT&T and Time Warner. Since the election, CBS has seemed eager to please Trump however it can. And then the story goes on, the analysis goes on to talk about Bill Owens, the 60 Minutes chief, stepping down in April, Stephen Colbert calling it what did he call it? A big fat bribe. So, I mean, I get it. There's a very compelling case out there that says this was all political. And the reason that Colbert was fired, canceled, whatever you want to say, won't be renewed by CBS is politics. Although among the countervailing arguments is the fact that his contract runs out in May, and at least as of now, the plan is to keep him on the air. So if it's all political, are they really going to let him continue to have that perch from now till May and hammer Trump? There's much more to it. And here's the much more to it. And this comes from latenighter.com, but many different sources have reported on this information. The Late Show with Stephen Colbert is reportedly losing $40 million a year. $40 million a year. And you say, well, how can that be? I thought it was the number one show. Oh, okay. It is the number one show in broadcast television at 11:30 at night. But as Puck has reported, and that's a newsletter that really covers closely the machinations of the television industry, back in 2018, all of late night television combined generated $438 million in advertising. By 2023, that number was cut in half. And the Late Show with Stephen Colbert has 200 employees. It costs $100 million a year to produce, and they're losing $40 million a year. So now you say, oh, wait a minute, maybe it suited a political objective to get rid of Colbert, but there's a much larger financial objective. And now I come to item number 3, which is from Nielsen, the people who do television ratings, and you've heard me discuss this on radio. In May, there was a milestone reached. I'll read it from the Nielsen release. This is dated June 17. Streaming reached a historic milestone in May as its share of total television usage outpaced the combined share of broadcast and cable for the first time ever. And we're not going back from that. I mean, there might be, maybe in July, it'll be broadcast television and cable, but this is the trajectory. I mean, I know it firsthand. I see the ratings for my own network. I see the ratings for my own program. I'm mindful of the fact that, I've got kids who are not of my mindset, like, oh, I got to watch CNN. I've got to watch Fox News or I've got to watch MSM. Everything for them is streaming. And for myself, everything is increasingly streaming. If I just look at my television habits for the last week, what has occupied? I mean, of course, I watch the news shows because I it's my job and I'm into it. But if I think about my pleasure viewing, two things are top of mind. One, just last night, I finished the Netflix miniseries Quarterback, season 2. By the way, it's awesome. Cameras were given tremendous access last NFL season to Bengals quarterback Joe Burrow, to Lions quarterback Jared Goff, and to sometimes Falcons quarterback Kirk Cousins. I say sometimes because it didn't end well for him. I got to just say one other thing parenthetically. I love all three of these guys. Having just watched them go through the NFL season through the quarterback TV series, I came away with immense respect for not only the play of all three, but they just seem like really good guys. Burrows, Goff, and Cousins. Anyway, so I watched Quarterback season 2. That was my pleasure watching. What has been my pleasure watching before then? Tires, which is this Shane Gillis produced, acted TV show set and partly filmed in the Philly burbs. It's a Delco production. I want to say to everybody, if you want to take my recommendation on this, give it a little breathing space. It to me is like Seinfeld. Season 1, it kind of finds its legs. I love season 2. Oh, and also The Studio with Seth Rogen. Where is that? I don't even know. Is that Netflix? Is that Hulu? I'm not even sure. It's Apple, again, because it's a streaming world. One more thing, and then I'm sorry if I'm long-winded, but this is also top of mind. The new studio. We are in our final 2 weeks of radio in this environment. And the new studio is going to have a 98-inch television. By the way, why isn't it just 100 inches? Why isn't it 100 inches? Give me the extra 2, okay? It's 98 inches. And so going through what's it going to display, I want to be able to watch the cable programs. Now, the plan initially was it was going to require 4 boxes, which seems like idiotic, so that you look at the 98s and there's like a box for one corner, a box for another, like 4 different. I can just see myself with that freaking clicker. It would drive me batshit. Instead, we're getting YouTube. Okay, we're getting YouTube TV. It's going to cost extra. My kids love it. And I'm going to walk in every day, I hope, and there will be the 4 images. One more streaming example is my point. It's a YouTube world and we're just living in it. So anyway, I'm going to be in the distinct minority on this one. It's okay. Do I think that there was political benefit to CBS and Paramount in not renewing Colbert? Yes, I do. But in the end, I think this was a revenue decision. I think this is a money decision. And in the end, I'm going with ratings and revenue. I mean, the ratings, yeah, he's number 1. But everything's relative. He's number 1 against the competition at 11:30. And the hottest late night comedy show on television, do you know what it is? You know what it is. It's Gutfeld. It's Greg Gutfeld on Fox. Yeah. So the fragmentation of the media has upended absolutely everything. Go vote at Smerconish.com. Why was the Late Show with Stephen Colbert canceled? Ratings and revenue, or politics? And no, I decided against giving you the both, because then everybody would have said both, and that's not insightful. So I'm forcing your hand. Like and subscribe, and set yourself up for notifications with my thanks. Look at that. Look at the love being shown on YouTube. How great that is. Okay. See you, gang. I'll see you on radio.